pieces are coming together, and a major piece of the puzzle is the website. Welcome to SkyWatchTV. I'm Gilbert. One of our daily updates today, we feature Defender Publishing CEO and the president of SkyWatchTV, Tom Horn. Tom, welcome.
Hey, great to be here, and great to have you actually sitting in that chair where you were born to be.
I know. I like this. It fits perfectly. Yeah. The website has been some time in the making, and it is online, and thought we'd take a few minutes here to let people know what they can expect at skywatchtv.com. The website, as far as navigation, is fairly easy to navigate. There's the video section right up front. Well, let's talk about that. Where do people navigate on the website to find the SkyWatch TV programming, both the long-form 30-minute interview and the daily video updates?
Yeah, well, right towards the top of the page. And you know, we spent a lot of time and a lot of testing to try to figure out how to make the website very dynamic, how to make it mobile ready so that people can open it with tablets and smartphones, and it adjusts. And the technology is way beyond me, right? Yeah. But we knew that was important. It takes us where the old frames-based Raiders News Update webpage just simply was outdated. You know, we'll send out our emails every week and watch how 50% of the emails now are being opened with mobile devices, and knowing that those people are opening it and then they're just deleting the email because they can't even look at the webpage. Well, we've changed all that. We're very excited about how it's turned out. Answer to your question is, when they go to skywatchtv.com, the first thing they'll find is right at the top of the web page. On the left side will be where the weekly 30-minute television program will be posted. Now, that's the program that will also be on Roku very soon. It'll be broadcast on cable television. It'll be closed caption for the hearing impaired. Right now, we're giving away some free books over there for anybody that will make a donation to help us buy television time, because television time is very expensive, and I'm not, a bottomless pit when it comes to money. So, but we believe in, that people are going to help us do that, going to join us in that process. Right next to the weekly 30-minute show is where they're going to see Derek and Sharon Gilbert's smiling face on a daily basis. Yeah. And so maybe you could talk about, what can we expect? What are some of the programs you're going to be doing?
Well, the daily update will be a look at what's going on in the world. Sharon and I believe for a long time, and I think you do as well, that the headlines that we read in the news every day are the shadows of the larger spiritual war that are taking place. We believe that the Apostle Paul knew what he was writing about when he told the church at Ephesus, we're not battling human opponents, it's powers, principalities, rulers of spiritual darkness, in other words, supernatural entities that seek to do us harm. And their struggles are played out in the headlines that we read in the news each day. Not that we necessarily see prophecy fulfilled in every headline, but we need to be aware. We're trying to serve as watchmen, looking out and trying to analyze and make sense of what's going on in the world around us, both geopolitically, economically. I know that for years you've been advising and counseling people to be prepared, because we really don't know what is coming at us. And if we as Christians are to share the love of Christ with those around us, when things hit the fan, as it were, we need to be prepared. And you can only be prepared if you have an idea that something is coming and be able to recognize what it is. Sharon is... My father told me many times, son, you married up, and he was right about that. She is the smartest person I know, and she has a mind for science that, when combined with her creative instinct as a writer, allows her to identify things in the world of science that are perhaps not what they are, that we are being told that they are. So she'll be doing a weekly science update and looking into technology, genetics, artificial intelligence research, deep learning, neural networks, things like that might some point lead to either the framework of a one-world government or to the creation of artificial intelligence, with the understanding or the belief by this false religion that's arising that we will achieve immortality, that we shall be as gods, the oldest lie in the book. So that's what we'll try to do, is serve as watchers and analysts of what's going on in the world around us, and posting that to skywatchtv.com.
Right, and of course, if people look at the top of SkyWatchTV.com right now, and they see the banner, they'll see our good friend Gary Stearman's smiling face, and the title there says SkyWatch TV with Gary Stearman and the News Raiders team. We should say something about that in a moment. But then it says investigations into prophecy, discovery, and the supernatural. So it isn't always prophecy, but like you mentioned, Sharon, one of the things I love about her, and I've gone to Sharon now over the years whenever I've had a question about, is this true? Could this really happen in genetics? And her alma mater, isn't it?
Indiana University.
Yeah, I mean, so you have Crick and the discoveries of the DNA helix. So she comes from a place with first-class qualifications, but she's a Christian biologist, not just a biologist, and she views the world through the prism of a biblical worldview.
That's right.
So that's exactly where we want to be able to go, and we want Skywatch Television to be something people have never seen before. It's not just another prophecy program, though it is also that. And so Gary Stearman will also sit in that seat. And he'll be interviewing people from all over the world, experts in different genres, who will also be part of this whole overall program. Now, right down below those two top sections of the new website is a little thing you can click and go back and forth. There's going to be archives of the videos. On the navigation tab on the top of the website, you can also just hover over where it says, I think it says TV program, and there's 4 or 5 options there. So the programs will be archived. If a person misses a show and it's like, oh no, I really wanted to see that one, they'll be able to go in the archives and watch that. And then for the Raiders News Update people that have been so faithful, and there are lots of them, there are tens of thousands of people that go to Raiders News Update every week, right? And but now they'll have the news stories, today's headlines, the original articles that we published, that you published, that Sharon publishes, and others. There's a news article up this week that was just published by WorldNet Daily, talking about SkyWatch TV. They misspelled your name.
And I see that all the time. That's all right.
Yeah, so they'll still get what they were getting from Raiders News Update. But they're going to find right away that RaidersNewsUpdate.com has been replaced by SkyWatchTV.com. And it's everything that was good about the old site, a whole lot better, but it's way more dynamic, and now it's also video content driven, and soon to be televised on cable television.
And one of the things I appreciate about your vision is that in making this accessible to as many people as possible is not just putting out the television program, but making it available through the web. And then for those who have slow internet connections, we'll be converting the programs into audio only, which are easier to download with, say, just a cell phone connection, so that people could at least hear the content, if not see the video. And just making it as widely accessible as possible, because this is important information. This is information that is typically not distributed through the content distribution network that we have built into our churches. Our churches should be distributing this information on a weekly basis as people attend church on Sundays and Wednesdays and Saturdays, whenever, but it's not. And so there is a need for this, and again, making this as available as possible is really something else. We also want to talk about the sevenfold vision of Raiders, rather Skywatch TV. You've posted I think a very important vision statement for where this is going and why you're doing this. And it's an honor to be a part of that. The sevenfold vision really encapsulates that. You can find that on a tab at the top of the website. Do take the time to read it. It's important reading. An annual conference, that's become something that's become more popular over the last few years. In fact, you kind of launched this genre in conferences with the Branson Conference, the Future Congress a few years back. We're looking ahead at 2016 perhaps for...
Yeah, absolutely. Nita and I, my wife Nita, we had a vision a few years ago of a new type of conference that kind of reflects what we're doing with Skywatch Television, where you deal with subject matter that churches either don't or can't take time to deal with, but it takes all of world phenomena and puts it within a biblical context, and when it's appropriate, a prophetic context. But we also wanted to reach out to young people. We had gone to a prophecy conference for 2 or 3 years in a row, and we noticed that there was no young people that were attending, and it was mostly because they weren't speaking to issues that are of importance or that are today's generational issues. And we decided we want to do both. We want to talk to the old guys like me, right? But we also want to reach people that are in their 20s or in their teens or they're young married couples and talk about today's issues. So Future Congress was born in our mind. The first one was hosted in Branson, Missouri, and the very first, conference, we outgrew the facility. And then my house burned down. And so we turned that over to other people, and they've been running it for the last few years and probably will continue to run their conference. And we don't want to compete with them or do anything to hurt them. But now that we've got our legs back under us and we're doing national television, we know everybody, the who's who of, the most celebrated people in the world right now that are kind of everything from the Middle East. So whether it's Mark Biltz or Jonathan Cahn or Avi Libkin or Derek and Sharon Gilbert or Gary Stearman or whoever is out there talking about these very important issues, providing answers to people that are asking questions, and yet we're talking about people that have good orthodoxy. And that's the other thing you got to really be careful about is you say you're willing to talk about aliens, well, a lot of New Agers are too.
Sure, right.
And so you got to know where your theology is and then put this in some context that can help people draw nearer to Christ and understand it either prophetically, exegetically, in whatever ways make for good, solid biblical interpretation.
And that's a key point because people are more than happy to, the world is more than happy to provide answers for many of these questions, which is why there were so many programs on cable television about ancient astronauts and ghost hunters and so forth that do not give a biblical response to these supernatural or paranormal events. Some of the upcoming programs, you've already launched the first television program, Interview with Dr. Michael Lake, and author of the book, The Shinar Directive. And amazing how the biblical character Nimrod casts a shadow even into this 21st century. Other guests upcoming, my lovely wife Sharon Gilbert with a great interview with Gary Stearman, Donna Howell, author, your co-author of Redeemed Unredeemable, and Terry James from RaptureReady.com, his forthcoming book, The Antichrist Chronicles. That's just a taste of some of the topics that will be discussed, and I know we'll talk more here in a bit about your ongoing collaboration with Chris Putnam and some of the things that you're discovering. Beyond the interview program, though, a vision for a women's program from SkyWatch TV. What do you see that becoming? Yeah, and let me say something to the audience that may not know this, is that Nita and I had not talked about that publicly with you or Sharon. And when we invited you to come down here, visit with us so we could talk to you about trying to con you into quitting your job to go to work with us full-time to work with this program, then it turned out that her and I were out of town. We weren't even here. So you came, Joe Artis met with you, and you guys, looked around. You went on a tour of the property that's going to be a retreat facility. So, folks, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about in the coming days. And I get this email from Sharon while we're on the road. And she used the same language that Nita and I had used when we said we have a vision to create a kind of Christian version of The View, but without Whoopi Goldberg. Yes. Right? And so that it's an all-women cast talking about sometimes the same issues that we're talking about on Skywatch, but sometimes not, but from a woman's point of view. Yeah, yeah. And Sharon sends an email and she says, have you ever thought in Studio B that you could use that for a Christian version of The View? Well, we almost fell out of our chair. So we felt right away that, God is bearing witness in our spirits that we've been called to do something. And it's real important, of course, that we continue to stay on our knees in prayer and make sure we follow the way the Lord wants that to be done. But we are so excited about our version of The View. Now, for people that may wonder how soon that's going to happen, we are awaiting additional funding. The cameras and lights, and it's a lot of money to build a studio. But we're hoping and believing that that's going to happen. People are going to help us make that happen very quickly. But one of the advantages of being the CEO of Defender Publishing is that you've got some resources to make available to thank people for their contributions. Right. And currently, with any donation to SkyWatch TV to help get these programs launched and get them onto cable systems and DirecTV, 4 books from Defender Publishing. The information is available at the website, skywatchtv.com. Absolutely free for all donations that will help advance the goal of getting this programming to the world.
And people already have started doing that. People are making donations from around the world. And for any donation, we're not asking for a certain amount. We're just doing this by faith.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of wonderful people out there that are, I mean, if we had tried to sell it, they would have gave us less than some of the donations that are being made, and that's helpful. That's going to help us take this to where it needs to go. But mostly today in this short update, we just wanted to make people aware of the new website and kind of what some of the features on that new website are.
Yep, and we appreciate your feedback. And Tom, I got to say, it's an honor to be a part of this team. We are really looking forward to getting here and hitting the ground running. And we appreciate you watching. Keep watching, and we'll serve as your eyes on the wall. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.